Like right now, when you said, look at what he did in regards to like the demise of the podcast, the Namaste podcast, look what he did to Melissa Feaster for months. Look what he did to her at BravoCon. But at the same time, Jim Leonard was doing it too. Jim Leonard kept over $7,000 that belonged to Melissa Feaster from the Namaste Bitches live event that we just saw on TV. He has yet to pay her. Jim Leonard right now is still messaging Melissa that he's going to sue her and her husband for defamation because he doesn't like what he saw in the text messages. I mean, they're still very much involved, these people, but they're all a part of the swamp. They're all a part of the filth that is going on within that camp. They're all just as guilty. I mean, one is a red flag, one is this, one is that. It's all very much distorted and disgusting.
The key is just to run away. Like if I were Carrie Ann, I would just go, yes, I'm sure you're paid way more as an assistant than you would be somewhere else. But like, man, wouldn't it be nice to just clock in and work and clock out and have a do an honest day's work and not worry about this?
If I was Carrie Ann, I would be like, I love you, Teresa. I want nothing but the best for you. I think your husband has issues. I know what he's capable of. I'm worried for you. Do whatever you can to protect yourself. Thank you for the time. Love you. Bye. I'm out. I'm going to go work elsewhere where I don't have to get abused. I don't have to get yelled at. I don't have to be, I don't have to have someone walking, right behind me, literally breathing on me, whispering into my ear, who do I think I am? Because I landed you a $300 Danos deal in front of everyone. I mean, I don't need to take this. I'm out. Love you. Wish you well. Bye. Jim Leonard could do the same, but again, they don't. So it's just so crazy.
Right.
I mean, wait, real quick.
Yeah.
Let me drop this tea in regards to Carrie Ann. So when Carrie Ann, when Louie and Teresa got married, Teresa made Carrie Ann her bridesmaid. Louie's assistant Jessica wanted to be a bridesmaid as well. And I remember Louie wanted Carrie Ann to step down and let Jessica get in the bridesmaids party. And there was a whole issue. The lady who was putting together the flowers, that company for the wedding, they were going back and forth and griping to her. And it got back to Louie, Teresa, and Jim Leonard that Jessica and Carrie Ann were fighting over this and that Louie was pissed. And it was a whole shit show during the wedding. Behind the scenes around the time of the wedding between Carrie Ann and Jessica. So it's very much distorted and twisted, that camp.
I would run away.
Yes.
Why do you think this is why ultimately? Because, like Andy gave his reason, the bullshit, like we're not having a reunion because it all felt so final in the finale, which is bullshit because it always feels final. Like, do you think this is why? Because the Vinavia lawsuits would come out, like Teresa with the bloggers would come out. I mean, it's already out, but people Marge would have envelopes again. You know what I mean? Like, do you think they're not having it because ultimately they're not sure what they want to do with Teresa? And although she might lose her job, let's not have to decide that now and let's just protect everyone. Well, and it's too dark for the general audience to get into all this any further.
Yeah, well, there was going to be zero resolution. It was going to be zero resolution at a traditional reunion. I think the one side of the couch would have showed up with most of, receipts from me. They would have showed up with so much to confront Teresa and to confront Jen Aydin on in front of Andy. I mean, and forget the lawsuits that could have taken place. I mean, there was zero resolution would have happened. So I think the network said, what's the point? One side is going to be completely annihilated with receipts. There's 0 point here. So I think that's the main reason why they decided to cancel a traditional reunion. Because reunions, you look for a little resolution and then you dip into what maybe could come next season if there was an unresolved feud. But I just think this season, if a traditional reunion would have been held, you would have had Margaret, Frank Catania, the Gorgas, the Fudas, Danielle. Like they would have showed up with so much, it would have been a shit show. I mean, a lot of stuff that's not even out there that I have, that people have seen, that the network has seen, that I haven't even posted. They would have showed up with that stuff. That would have ended it all. So,
I don't know.
It would have been.
I was going to say, I don't know what they're going to do if they keep Teresa. And then, I mean, apparently with the new stuff that was leaked about John Fuda, and she's still talking to bloggers and hasn't learned anything. I mean, if they keep her and this spills into next season, even if that's a year from now, we're going to be right back where we started.
Exactly. Yeah,
I just don't
exactly. And
know
I know a
what.
lot of people, and a lot of people are like, well, if we get rid of Melissa and keep Teresa, but I mean, if you get rid of Melissa in regards to the Teresa versus Melissa, there was also Teresa versus Margaret. So do we have to get rid of Melissa and Margaret? And if we keep Teresa, because those relationships are done, there's no coming back.
She
And
seems
you know
to,
what? I
yeah.
don't I don't blame Margaret. I don't blame Margaret because Louis did call and threaten her son. That's a fact. A lot of people are like, why didn't you bring a police report? You guys, Bravo didn't show us everything. We don't know what Bravo has. We don't know what he has, what they have seen, what Andy has seen. The whole public isn't aware of everything. That he literally called her son and threatened her. Then they try to play it off as spoofing. He literally spoke to her son. I mean, that went down. That that was number one. Then here's another thing we're gonna see. I got confirmation of. We're gonna see this season. We've got a couple episodes left, David. So we're gonna see it either in tonight's episode or next week's episode or the finale. We're going to see a scene between Teresa and Louis, where in a threatening way, Louis, and these are notes per Teresa. Louis says he hopes for nothing but the worst for Margaret and her family. So you really think they're going to bring Teresa and Margaret back next season after that
No.
airs? Number one, he threatened her son. Then he's over here saying that he hopes for nothing but the worst. Margaret, I know because this has been put out there all over the place. She filed a formal complaint with Bravo when her son was threatened. When we get to see him threatening her again, that he hopes for nothing but the worst for her and her family. If I was Margaret Josephs, I would go straight to HR and file a complaint against this man because he's threatening you, he's harassing you. So I don't see, a lot of people say, I don't see how they bring Melissa and Teresa back. I don't see how they're going to bring Margaret back if they bring Teresa. It's done. Done.
I agree. There's no Margaret if Teresa comes back. And I mean, she's like, it's two different things. I think Melissa and Joe are dead to her. And I mean, to me, it is working, even though this was a horrible season. I don't know if it was great, but like you almost forget that they're not in. Like I think Melissa and Teresa, it's not even an issue. They're dead to her. She hates Margaret. Like that's where her focus is. There isn't going to be a Margaret if there's a Teresa. I would agree with that. I don't see how there can be.
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna have to just wait and see. But we got to get back together because there'll be more tea. There'll be more things that to unpack. We'll have to get together again, David, and record another one. But
Agree. This might come out like a week from our recording, but before it all or during the like, yes, like you'll come back. Like, we'll come back. I really enjoy speaking to you. I just want to say I don't understand still. People, I think people personally not, but look at and people could do whatever they want. I'm not preaching. I just think the people that don't believe you hate, like love Margaret and Melissa. I don't see why it can't. I mean, they hate Margaret and Melissa. I don't see why it can't be two things. Why can't you be a tree hugger who likes Teresa, hates Margaret, hates Melissa, but at least is listening to all the things you're saying? Like that's what to me is strange. Why can't you hate